Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today's the 18th of December 2018. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, as always, the usual. But before we start looking at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation. It should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay guys, so now then, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the S&P. Now, as you probably are aware, yesterday we had a bit of a sell-off here. So the indices managed to move even lower. The US, the US and the European ones, of course. So now looking at this S&P index here, we can see that yesterday the index traveled all the way down here to break the lows of the 2nd of April here, which were around the 2554 area. So the index broke it to the downside and kind of stayed and closed the candle, the daily candle below it. So in a way, this creates, of course, a bit of a bit more negativity, and also given the fact that yesterday the index managed to test this year's lows, that doesn't put a lot of doesn't put a positive spin on this one, let's put it that way. So in a way, of course, even though we could see maybe a bit of retracement here back to the upside, still nevertheless, I mean, the sentiment is still bearish, and we could see some further declines. And if we break the 2533 level, which was around the this year's low, of course the next potential area of support could be around the 2509 area. Now the 2509, just going back into history here, was near the highs of September here, the mid-September. So yep, and that's of course last year. So yep, keep your eyes on that one. Let's see how this plays out. But again, let's say be very careful. Like I said, we could see a bit of retracement back to the upside. We are slightly kind of in the more of a oversold territory, but nevertheless be very careful, because we could see some further declines. And as you can see by this kind of more of a thicker dashed line, this is basically the this year's opening price. So you could in a way kind of see this one as a guideline, and even if, let's say, if we retrace back up here, and for example if we move above the 2595 area, or even the around the 2600 area, if we move above that, then we could see maybe a bit more movement to the upside here. Maybe the bulls will decide to try to regain some of their lost grounds here, and potentially push the price towards the closer towards the opening price, so this year's opening price, of course. So yep guys, for now, probably long story short here, if this continues to trade below the 2554 level, certainly keep your eyes on the this year's low near the 2533. A break below that could send this index further down towards the 2509 area, which was marked by the by the highs that we saw around September here, around the 20th September 2017. And on the upside, if this gets back above the 2600 level, then yep, we could then target the 2635 area, or even actually going back towards the this year's opening price, which was near the 2683-84 zone, so approximately there. So keep your eyes on this one. It's a very tricky one, a very difficult one, but nevertheless, it's going to be very interesting to see how this year is going to end for the equity markets in general, and specifically for the S&P 500. Jumping into something that really moved yesterday, or should I say relatively, which is Bitcoin. Basically, the crypto world has finally moved a little bit higher here. So looking at this Bitcoin here, Bitcoin price here, which is near the 34.88 or 90 zone. Of course, it depends on the exchange, but this one that I'm looking at is Coinbase. So basically, it managed to push a little bit higher here. You can see it kind of tested the 20 SMA here within this Bollinger Band, and also kind of almost tested the 21 EMA shown as the yellow line. So in a way, it's kind of creating a bit more positiveness, if we can put it this way. Certainly for now, we're going to keep on monitoring it, and especially we're going to keep on monitoring this little high here near the 3650 area, approximately there. A nice good pop above this could potentially open the path towards much higher levels, and this is where we could target this high here that we saw around the 29th of November, which was approximately around, let me just quickly mark this for our future reference, and this was around the 4430 level. Now this also kind of coincides here right now with the 50 EMA shown as the red line, so also potential good area of resistance. But if that doesn't hold, of course, further acceleration to the upside could be possible, and this is where we could then aim for the 5180 zone. 5180 could be a good potential target. Also near the 100 EMA here shown as the green line. So of course everybody has the question here in their heads: will it actually repeat last year's rally, or will it have something similar to like what we saw last year around the Christmas time and New Year? Probably my own opinion is that probably not, because certainly around we do have a lot of negativity around the crypto world right now, and bad press, and the way it is unreliable, and of course that's kind of in a way spooking the investors. And of course this year's drop here, almost in around 90% or drop in the value, then of course this is all this creates this bad negativity, or bad negativity just in general, all this negativity around the cryptos. So we could see maybe a bit of a move here higher, but I doubt that we could get something really drastic here in terms of the upside here. Potentially, of course, it would be interesting to see higher levels, much higher levels, maybe even going back to as the 10,000 level. But then again, judging by the way it's performing, it could be a bit of a difficult task for Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptos. Looking at, and this leads me into Ripple here. So Ripple yesterday had a very nice jump here. So we can see that currently kind of looking at this daily chart here, it's kind of getting held here by this 0.3465 level. At the moment it tried to overshoot it. Yes, it did that, but as you can see, the bears are kind of taking control right now and pushing this crypto back down. Certainly the recommendation here would be just to be very cautious with this one, even though yes, this could continue traveling further up here, but again, be very cautious, and let's wait for a nice confirmation break here, or especially a close above the 0.3465 level on the daily candle. And then we could aim for a possible test of this 50 EMA, or even actually going higher here near the 0.3990 level, or in other words, you can round it up towards the 0.40 level. Could be a nice potential target here for this crypto. So yep, at the moment guys, be very careful on the downside. In order for us to start looking at much lower levels, we probably need to see a nice good drop here below the 0.2865 level, and only then we could target levels like the 0.2465, or even actually the psychological 0.20 level. So of course that's a bit of a big drop here, but nevertheless could be possible. This is cryptos that we're talking about, but again, for now, judging by the picture that we're seeing here right now, there is more chances to go higher here, but again, we need to see that good confirmation break here in a close, especially a close above the 0.3465 level. Quickly, I wanted to touch on one pair that I was talking about yesterday in my trader's tea time in the evening, and this was the EURNOK. Now, the euro against the Norwegian krone here, I was talking about this potential move here higher towards the highs of the September here, so which the pair managed to accomplish, and it managed to slightly close above that level. So the level that I was talking about was the 9.8050 level, and of course now we can see it is trying to continue pushing higher. It wants to continue pushing higher, but let's see, of course, if it manages to do that. Certainly a nice good break above yesterday's highs near the 9.8150 area approximately there, could of course open the path towards much higher levels. And if looking at the bigger picture here, the good potential area of resistance that we're keeping a close eye on here is the 9.87, or in a way you could round it up towards the 9.88 level, which was marked here by the high of this spike of the 9th of on the 9th of February this year. So good potential area for resistance, certainly a bit of a path here for this pair to make, but nevertheless could be possible. The momentum is still to the upside here, and we could see a bit at least towards the 985 level. Probably that could be a good possibility here, but again, I'll repeat myself, the 9.88 is the more interesting area of resistance here for this pair. On the downside, if this suddenly reverses back down and drops below this area of the of resistance, that now could play out as nice support, certainly then you could, if we get a nice break here below this, then yep, you could potentially target this little short-term tentative upside support line, and if that doesn't hold, yep, further declines could be possible. For now, the downside is slightly off the table, so let's see how this plays out. Jumping into euro dollar quickly, so let me just jump into a 4-hour chart straight away on this one. So yesterday, nice good rally here to the upside, managed to break back above the this short-term upside support line that has been running here since the lows of the 12th of November, and certainly, of course, it also broke and closed above the 1.1330 level. We're seeing a bit of a retracement back to the downside now, and this is where it already tested the pivot, and we're seeing now the bulls kind of trying to push it back up here. And of course, let's see if they manage to keep the pair above this upside support line, the short-term upside support line, and of course above this 1.1330 level. If they manage to accomplish that, then we could see maybe a move back up here towards, let me just quickly mark that, towards these highs, the yesterday's highs, which were near the 11360, or even actually for maybe to be more on the cautious side, you could in a way keep it till the 65 approximately there, which was marked here by the highs of the 13th of December. So if we get a nice pop above this level, then yep, further acceleration of the rate could be possible, where we could then aim for the R2 here near the 113.95 area approximately there, or even actually you can in a way round it up towards the 114 zone. So also could be a good interesting level here, next good interesting potential area of resistance, but for now be very careful here, because it's kind of retracing right now, and it's very close to this short-term upside support line. That's why probably be a bit more cautious here in case we suddenly get a drop here below, a break below here, and then we could see probably a bit of more selling activity kicking in here. But if this continues to trade above this upside support line and above the 113.30 level, and we see even a close today above this level on the daily candle, of course, then yep, I mean, probably the bulls could jump in here again and could see this as a good opportunity to push the pair back up here towards initially towards the 113.65 and then potentially higher. But for now, probably, like I said, suggest to stay cautious here, and let's see how this plays out, especially with this upside support line. Jumping into last pair I want to quickly touch on, and that's GBPUSD. Certainly this one also yesterday had a nice push higher. We're still trading below this 126.60 level, and I was, one of my videos last week I was talking about this basically, and looking at this daily chart you can see why. So this is quite an important area here, the 1260 1.2660. I do apologize because it's early morning for me. So 126.60, this is what we're keeping a close eye on, and as you can see in the past, it acted here as a very nice area of support. On the 15th of August, it also held the rate nicely here on the 4th of December, but on the 10th of December, it pierced through this heavily and strongly and managed to move lower, but then after we had a bit of a retracement here back to the upside, this is where it got held here again around the 126.60. So that's why this level becomes quite an important one to watch. And if we do have a nice push here higher, if we do have a nice push here above this 126.60 level, now this could be that nice gateway to the upside, because probably at the same time we would start breaking this downside resistance line, the very short-term downside resistance line that we got here running from the high of the 7th of November, and then of course we could see maybe the bulls now dictating the rules, and the pair might travel further up here towards the 127.20, or even actually going higher a little bit towards the area around the 128.10, so which was marked here by the highs of the 6th of December. So basically, long story short, guys, from the short-term perspective, you could keep on monitoring this 126.60 level, quite an important one. That's on the upside, of course, because if we're gonna get a nice pop here above the 126.60, probably most likely we will start breaking this downside resistance line as well. So keep your eyes on that one. If this today, for example, drops below the pivot, be very careful. We could then see maybe a bit of a slide here towards the 125.80. But if the downside momentum is gonna remain, well, we do have this little low here of the 14th of December, or in other words, last Friday's low, which was near the 125.30. This could be a nice potential target for the pair, but then again, I'll repeat myself, only if we get initially a drop below the pivot here today, especially, and we start moving towards the S1 around the 125.80, and then we could potentially target the lows of last Friday around the 125.30. So for now, be very cautious, keep monitoring the potential breakout points, and let's see how this plays out. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me later on in my Traders Tea Time, and that's 14:15 GMT time, so yep, we'll have a look at some other instruments, and yeah, I hope you have a fantastic trading day today. Bye bye for now.